All right, man. Last night we just witnessed history, man. As Bud Crawford, man, just came undisputed for the third time with a victory over Canelo Alvarez. So I got to get my take before we go forward, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. This your boy Greg, one half of the co-pilots. Man, my take on the fight, man. Like I say, man, overall it was a great fight, man. Both of them came in there, gave it all they had. It was a great fight. It lived up to the expectations. So now that I got that out the way, now I will say that, man, I did not think that I knew it was gonna be a good fight. I knew it was gonna come down to a decision. But I gave the edge to Canelo for this reason. I didn't think that Bud was going to be able to do enough in the judge's eyes to score the victory, you know. And we can see that I was wrong about that because we look at the fight that, man, it was Bud won by a landslide. I would say Bud Crawford, he controlled the whole fight throughout, you know what I'm saying? He established his jab early. You get what I'm saying? Um, he was able to fight from the outside. He was able to fight from the inside. He was able to continue his movement, control his tempo. Um, One of the things I liked about you know what I'm saying, like I say, man, with this fight, man, one of the things that we pointed out, man, that was a key for Bud is his footwork, and he showed that his footwork was better than Canelo's. You get what I'm saying? One of the things I liked that, man, he kept his lead foot on the outside. He always kept his lead foot on the outside. And, and I think that this is one of the things that kept Canelo from cutting the ring off when he tried to, because he was able to establish his pivot and get out of harm's way when he felt he was in a position that he didn't feel comfortable in, you know. And that was one of the things, man. We knew that, man, like when it come to footwork, man, Crawford has great footwork and whatnot, you know. And I thought that he was quicker than Canelo. One of the main things I say, and I mentioned this with my co-host before, and I say that, man, if this happens, this will give Terrence Crawford a chance. I say if Canelo exposes his power early in the fight and Bud feel that he can stand against it, I say then you're gonna see Bud take the fight to him. And I feel this is one of the things that happened, when he threw this power punch early. I think that was maybe could have been the second round or whatnot. And even though Bud blocked it, it was a blocked shot or whatnot. But this was one of the things that happened in the Madrigal fight, and also happened in Errol Spence fight. You get what I'm saying? Once he feel that if he can take your power, he's going to bring the fight to you. You get what I'm saying? And I would say this, it's like a calculated move. It's a chess move, you know. And a lot of times, man, when you looking at the speed of your opponent and their power, that is one of the things on one of the ways you determine how you're going to approach the fight. You know what I'm saying? I think Bud was much quicker, you know, and I think one of the things that helped it was his technique, throwing from set position. Throwing set position, man, is highly important. That's one of the things I feel that a lot of fighters get away from. This is one of the things that I say that helped with Shakur Stevens with his fighting style. And it was the same with Floyd, because it's not always about power and trying to knock your opponent out. And Crawford mentioned this before. A lot of people think that when you approach a fight that you're trying to knock your, it's part of boxing, but this is not always the thing that you look for, because you also have to protect yourself, and you also have to be able to control your punches. And I think that this was one of the things that Bud did well, because this kept Canelo from being able to counter his punches. And we know that Canelo is one of the best counter punches in the game, defensively. We know that Canelo, like, I mean, I felt that Canelo had better defense than Crawford coming into the fight. But in this fight, I feel as though Canelo, man, stepped his game up a lot when it came to his defense. Because we know that Crawford will take a punch. We know that he can take a punch. And it's the same with Canelo. Canelo got one of the best chins in the game or whatnot. But like I say, man, I think that when it came down to this punch, when it came down to this fight, man, Crawford had better technique. He was quicker and he had better footwork. And once he realized that he was able to stand up against Canelo power, he felt like he can go to work from there. Even with fighting his fight, right? On another level, whatnot, he also fought Canelo fight. And that's when they was close in, you know, they went blow for blow, exchanging blows or whatnot. And that was one of the things that people was looking at like they was, you know, didn't want to see happen, you know, if you was rooting for Bud. But at the same time, in that matchup, when he fought Canelo's fight, he was also dominant. Once again, Bud proved everybody wrong, you know, and it was the same in the Errol Spence fight. You know, he came in as the underdog, he proved everybody wrong. Um, So it's like, man, now when we look at the history of boxing, man, we in that GOAT conversation, man, you gotta put Bud in there, man, you know, to make that much of a jump, man, from starting off at 135 and working your way up to 180, 168. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I would say probably the last time we probably seen a jump in weight like this probably was with Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, and it could have been another one, but that's the first person coming to mind. So, man, like I say, man, overall, man, I feel that, you know, now you got to put Bud Crawford, the conversation changed. You get what I'm saying? It's like no longer you can look at guys like Errol Spence and say, no, he didn't fight nobody. Errol Spence was a great fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like we witnessed Errol Spence, you know what I'm saying? He was a great fighter. We also seen him fight guys like Sean Porter, who was a great fighter as well. You get what I'm saying? We have to look at Amir Khan as well. You get what I'm saying? So you look at all these fighters that he fought. You know, a lot of people like was discrediting his resume, but now he took on who we consider the face of boxing. And it wasn't, I would say this, it wasn't even close. Like everybody knew that in the scorecard, it was a unanimous decision and whatnot. You know, so hey man, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section, man. This your boy Greg, one half of the co-pilots. I'm out.